I've dabbled with old ladies.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you have. Now, if I'm not mistaken, you lost your virginity to an older gal.
45-year-old bag.
Do we have time to tell this story? Because I have to tell you, it's one of my favorite stories of all time.
Let's see. We started then. Yeah, I'll do the quickie.
Keep it under 4 minutes.
Oh, boy.
6 minutes?
I'll do 6.
Let's do 6 minutes. I'll give you a line. This is one of my favorite stories ever. I never get tired of hearing it.
All right, let me light this candle, and I'll tell it. Here we go. All right. So it's December 30th, 1999, which is New Year's Eve, the day before the millennium change. This is big time, baby. I'm 16 years old. We have a big party to go to on New Year's Eve. Huge party out in the field with like tons of kegs and a band. It was going to be wild. So we're like, the night before, let's go to the French Quarter, Bourbon Street. We're in New Orleans. We're 16. It's me and 5 friends. We go. This is, we all hop in a minivan. This is pre-cell phone. So we're just, we're in our best sweaters and button-ups, 16-year-olds, all virgins. We get to Bourbon Street. One of my friends goes, hey, I just got a fake ID. I'm going to go get some hand grenades or whatever. And so him and another guy go off, and we never see them again, which was just normal back then. They're just gone.
Right.
Like, all right, well, fuck them. We lost them. So me and these 2 guys are walking around just looking up at the balconies. Women are flashing, beads, throwing. Good time. Classic New Orleans night. Chill in the air. Very fun. And so one lady starts flashing me. And, great bod, real banana boobs. Remember those, the ski slopes?
I think they still exist. They still make them.
I haven't seen them in years. So she had a leather jacket on and just those boobs flashing. And I felt like I had a connection with her. And so I was kind of like standing under her on the balcony. And I was like, hey, looking good. And she was like, you want to come up? And I was like, holy moly, I'm a 16-year-old wide-eyed idiot. And I'm like, yeah, I'd love to come up. So I'm like, come on, boys. And I try to go into the hotel, Ramada Hotel on Bourbon. And the door guy.
I was in a Ramada.
Oh, there you go. And the door guy goes, sorry, you can't come up if you're not a guest at the hotel. And I was like, So I go back and I look at her. And I'm like, hey, I'm looking up at her like, hey, they won't let me in. She goes, all right, I'm coming down. I'm like, wow, this lady is up for anything.
This is like Romeo and Juliet. You're yelling up to the balcony.
Yes. So she comes down, and boy, she looked great. I mean, she was old, but she looked great. She was probably 45, 46.
Which is, but you're 20 or 15.
16.
16. So that's the equivalent of 106 now.
That's true. Yeah, in dog years, she was dead. But she looked kind of like an older Jennifer Aniston. Like if Jennifer Aniston just got out of a street fight, that's what she'd look like.
Right. Those street fights age you.
Oh yeah, that'll do it. And so she kind of comes to us, and she's very maternal. She's like, hey, you kids want to come up and throw some beads? All right, it's cold out here. And we're like, oh, this girl doesn't want to do anything, And my friend, keeps elbowing me, that annoying friend. He just come on, say something, just at least try something. So I was just like, all right. And I just put my arm on her shoulder, and I go, I don't want to go into 2000 a virgin.
Great line.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And she goes, and I was expecting to just get like a hee-hee and then a kick in the balls. But she goes, well, I won't let you. And that was it. She walks us into the hotel. She goes, all right, that's the elevator. Go to room 219. I'll meet you up there. Weird red flag right there. Why are we going to her room without her? But fuck it. We get into the elevator, and it was immediately like, we're all hitting each other, jumping up and down. 16-year-old kids like, can you believe this is happening? Oh, my God, this is crazy. Game plans, high-fiving, hugging. And so we get to the room. We find the right room. We wait there. And it was like that scene in Swingers where they're like, Vegas, Vegas. And then they cut to them just like almost sleeping.
Right.
So by this time, it was like a half hour, and we're just sitting on the floor. She finally walks up, swings the door open. There's an old guy with a white beard and a hat just sitting, staring at the door. And he had a Harley Davidson hat on, terrifying dude.
That's how I picture the entire male population of New Orleans, by the way. Old and white beards.
There's a lot of that, yeah.
Canes.
And he kind of is like, what's going on here? And she goes, hey, Fred, or whatever his name was. And she's like, yeah, we're going to hang out here for a while. And he goes, which one is it? And she points to me. And he goes, all right, you two, come out on the balcony with me. And we're all like, now we're kind of like, well, we're going to die. What's happening here? You guys are fucked. I'm getting fucked. I don't know what's going on. So, it's like that, like my friends are walking on the balcony like, hey, what's going on here? So he's like, I got a cooler with beers outside. It'll be fine. So he goes on the balcony, closes the French doors behind him. And my friends immediately look and turn into the window, like looking in the room.
Right.
And she does the whole zip, blinds fall.
Right.
Right and over the window. So
beautiful.
That's the end of that. And I'm just riding this out.
This is like a poem.
I think it's Walt Whitman. All right. Whew, that took a minute. So, I couldn't think of his name. I almost said Emerson. So, mind you, it's winter, so I'm wearing a button down, a sweater, and a jacket and jeans. So she does the pat on the bed. She goes, why don't you get more comfortable? I take off the jacket. And she's like, all right, so how do you want to do this? And I was like, well, I'm feeling pretty confident. I'm like, I'll just take a blowjob first. And she goes, well, I don't give blowjobs. And in my head, I'm thinking, you fuck kids off the street, but you don't give blowjobs? All right, that's fine. And she goes, you ever done this before? And I was like, no, I've never done this before. And I should tell you, I don't have the biggest dick in the world or anything. And she goes, don't worry, that's fine. Anything else? And I go, yeah, you clean? And she goes, you want to do this or not? I was like, sorry. So she goes in the bathroom to get more comfortable, comes out wearing nothing but green socks. Quite a visual.
It's like a Seuss play. He didn't write plays, and that's a second Seuss reference.
I noticed. And it didn't rhyme. So she comes out.
Old bags and green socks. Tiny cock, green sock.
Oh, there you go. Something like that.
All right. He wrote it before he was a doctor.
So, she goes... she sits back down on the bed, and she's like, come on, why don't you get a little comfortable? So I take the pants off, I take the jacket off and all that, the sweater and everything, and I keep the boxers on, and I slip it through the hole. She puts a condom on me. We go at it for about 2 hours, and eventually I roll off her, and she had the worst breath I've ever smelled in my life, by the way, just horrific. And I roll off her, and I've had this wave of shame, like this filthy, dirty shame. And I'm like, what have I done? Who am I? What's going on? My parents? I'm a good kid. What am I doing? And so I was just like, I got to get out of here. I'm just thinking, I got to get out of here. And she's laying next to me, like twirling my non-chest hair, And she's like, so we got to do this again. What's your phone number? I was like, I don't really have my own phone. And she's like, well, I'll come pick you up. And I'm like, I don't want you meeting my parents. I live at home, And so she's like, all right, well, we should hook up. And I was like, I'll come back tomorrow. And I just get up and I put my clothes on and I open the French doors because I got to get my friends, and they fall in. They're hammered. They're 16-year-old kids have been boozing for hours. They fall in. My friend's like, I got sloppy seconds. He's all over the road. And I'm like, no, and I'm just pulling him out of the room. And we finally get back home. I tell them the story in the cab. They're fucking going nuts. And we get to my friend's house. We pass out. The phone rings at 7:30 a.m. Those two friends we lost call the house, and they're like, hey, you're not going to believe what happened to us. And I'm like, no, you're not going to believe what happened to us. And we do that for about 25 minutes, and then he tells me that they both met some swimmers from UCLA and fucked him in the minivan.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I told my story, and I was the king of high school for like 2 months after that.
Wow, that is a beauty.
Thank you.
That's just a beauty. I love that story.
We got through it in 5 minutes.
I lost track of time. It was so beautiful.
Great.
I wish I have no good virginity.